Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and friends. It's often written that we should behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. I want to welcome my brothers for joining me today for what we were going to call breaking bread with the brothers. As we look through the things and the times that we live in, we've noticed that one thing is missing from our community: conversations around the table. So today, join us as we go through a few questions, have open conversation about the things that we see from the men of Omega Psi Phi, specifically the 3rd District, about the ways that we can impact our local community. So join me, Sean Lacey, the 31st 3rd District Representative, and some friends as we have general conversations around the dinner table.
Hey, appreciate you, Brother Lacey. I'm Myron McDaniels, the District 1st Vice District Representative. Glad to be here.
Mike Frazier, 3rd District Father and Mentor and Chairman.
Davey Smith III. I'm the Vice Chair for Fatherhood and Mentoring, and also the representative for the 3rd District for the International Youth Leadership Conference.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys for being here. I'm James Harris. I am the founder of Men to Heal, which is an interactive movement to get men back focused on their overall wellness. So we're going to be talking about so many different things in the dynamic of fatherhood as well as mentoring. So what my panel didn't tell you is they're educators, they're in the medical field, so much community experience. So we're going to dive right into it. Just talking about fatherhood and intergenerational trauma and so many aspects of that. How do you feel that we can get back to the essence of active fathers, which they are active, but as far as media, social media, and things like that, the narrative is not always great. So how do you think we can change that dynamic?
I think one of the challenges that we have to overcome is the realities, right? Years ago, decades ago, the best way to kill the Black family was to eliminate the Black man, right? So what we've seen throughout the course of time is the effeminization of Black men. It was one of those things to where it's that being masculine now has become a negative thing. It is something that, you can be too macho, too this, that, the other. And let's face facts. All of our families have strong Black women, right? So how do you balance supporting that strong Black woman and maintaining your masculinity, your role? I think it's an opportunity for us as men to just continue to be role models. We have to meet those challenges, meet those opportunities face to face so as that we can overcome it. The generation, I'm an educator, 28 years in public schools. The generation we're facing now, these young folks are not used to hearing men's voices, especially not in redirection, not in discipline. So we gotta temper how we interact with them. The more frequently they can see us in our different roles, the better we can get responses. So rather than falling back like social media and others would like, we got to step forward and make sure that we put things like this on the table so other folks can see.
So, Mike, let me ask you this. Do you think it is a such thing as too much masculinity? How it's presented now, the masculinity is presented as grit, toughness, being stoic. Sure. And you talked about feminization. So do you think it's a healthy balance needed, or do you think it's just a lost cause as far as now?
I mean, I feel that a healthy balance is needed in everything. Community starts at home. So our ability to have the conversations like Sean is talking about amongst our children, to be able to understand where our kids are at, because we should be able to learn from our kids just like our kids should be able to learn from us. And we should be able to have these discussions. Too much of anything is bad. I do agree that, you see traditional roles in the Black family, for manhood is being feminized, right? And when you address it, you're being labeled, or you're saying you're too toxic, or this is toxic masculinity. There are traditional roles that if a man chooses to teach his children these traditional roles, we should accept it. We should be able to listen to our children, and we should understand what they're going through in current society too, because we didn't live in their generation. We don't understand what they're going through.
No, and I agree. It should definitely be a healthy dose of masculinity as well as femininity. I think the issue with society is they're pinning it against each other, like too much and too less, or you overbearing and things like that. So, Brother Myron, I want to get you in here because, how do you feel or view from a systemic standpoint of a traditional family? You had the grandfather, you had the father, you had, so many different aspects, the sons, the brothers. Do you feel that that impact will assist a young person in navigating, because in education, oftentimes you probably run into a authority figure who is the first man that you may encounter. Do you think that has an impact within society?
Oh, definitely. I see it as kids, children, they're going to mimic who they see, right? That they see on a daily basis.
Sure.
And like you said, for all of us, when we grew up, we maybe had that. I just remember growing up in my neighborhood, we had, the male figures in different walks of life. And I know that over the years after that, it kind of went down. And so who do these kids see now? And so just as you may be a good role model to your own children, but realize that other people, other children are looking at you too. So
Sure.
we're going to have to pick up the pace as Black men because we know things aren't fair. They haven't been fair for quite a while. But we know that kids are going to look at us and say, hey, if he can do it, if he can be a producer, he can be a principal,
Right.
he can be an entrepreneur, not just your own kids, but other kids will look at that as well.
And I think from a overall standpoint, what the media oftentimes don't show is the active Black man, not necessarily the biological father or
Right,
the
right.
bonus father, but
Right.
you do have significant Black men that play a part in instrumental in the young people's lives. Davey, I'm gonna get you in here, man. From a generational standpoint, how do you feel the community can impact from seeing strong Black men?
Well, as a whole, the community can, and I could just speak from a personal experience. Like you said, go back to that village aspect of things. I had somebody that was my football coach.
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out that football coach just happened to be what? An Omega.
Right.
So you see how things project there. Next thing you know, I end up becoming what? An Omega. So having that example, having the guy that was a school board member coming out to the projects, having the guy that worked at the rec center, having that preacher come down and still speak to us, and still hold me accountable and can give me that look. What's missing also when you walk in that room, you remember every now and then you hear that hey, and everything freeze.
Right.
You don't see that no more.
Right. Right.
That presence, that bravado, that man, that masculinity, like you said, we still need it as a balance.
It's definitely a balance. So do you feel, Brother Sean Lacey, the authority part of it oftentimes get cast strictly on the male?
Correct. 100%. And so the authority comes as though, and it's the old stigma, right? Wait till your daddy get home. Those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
So that could put, that has the opportunity to put two different things. If daddy was coming home, yeah, you respected that. And, man, I don't want to talk to this dude. What happened? But if it just was a silent threat, wait till your daddy come home and you know he ain't coming home, that becomes white noise. Then that threat loses its power, right? So as one that leads a building, that operates, and I carry every title, right? I'm serving as uncle. I'm serving as surrogate father.
That's right.
It's more than just being a principal. One thing that I've realized and learned over the years is I have to be able to communicate, explain the why, find ways to have teachable moments. Like even with my two biological sons, it's about having conversations, being open to making sure that they understand why we do things a certain way, and being receptive to hearing them. Because right now, that's the biggest opportunity that we have. Being great disciplinarians, but great listeners as well.
And I think oftentimes in communication that get lost. People focus on the message, who's giving it, who's
Right.
receiving it, but they don't search for the understanding of the message. Because oftentimes you get in the mindset of I'm older, so I know more. But like you mentioned earlier, we have to listen to the young people too.
Right.
They're dealing with things that we dealt with, but didn't have to deal with on a more upfront level, specifically with social media.
Right.
Like if that's the sole inference of their information, they're gonna be behind.
Man, listen, the one thing that's been eliminated from our mindset, right? How many of y'all remember the response? Because I said so.
Of course.
Yes, sir.
That's all we got hit with, right?
Yeah.
And you never questioned because I said so,
Yeah.
because it came with something else.
Yeah.
That's right.
But what I've learned over the years is because I said so was so easy because I never had to explain it. I would never have to explain my why to give you that background.
But you were able to discipline your children
Correct.
back in the day
Correct.
different than you can now.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know because I said so is going to carry the same weight
Correct.
from when I heard it.
Correct.
And you got to remember too, the children who aren't able to communicate with their parents often grew up to adults who don't know how to communicate.
Yeah.
So now you're challenged with communicating with your partners, your coworkers, your teammates. You feel the need to not say what you really want to say, voice your opinion.
Right.
You get walked all over, or you just reduce yourself and think, all right, this is the authority figure, I got to take it. So now you working extra hours at the job, or you just getting taken advantage of because you don't have a voice.
Yeah.
So it starts in the home oftentimes.
Yes.
Go ahead, jump in, Brother Myron.
No, I was going to say it's just the media just has awesome. When I say awesome, just like so much of an impact, right? Because before, like you said, we didn't have to deal with that. We could say, yeah, well, do what I say, do whatever. But now with everything else, they can see all these other examples. Like, well, he didn't do it. It's like, well, that's a movie, but he didn't do it. That's a video. Right. But all that's coming in. But at the same time, you got kids all day looking like this. Yes. And so it's just wild how you have to take it from both ends like that.
Right. And the integrity and accuracy of the information on social media lasts to such a degree that now you are parenting and talking and communicating with young folks or just even folks of our own peers, and you are battling the unknown of misinformation, misunderstanding from different media sources that creates another level of confusion and generational gaps between ourselves and the younger generation.
Yeah, definitely. So those things, whether it's media, social media, all things have to be viewed within context and moderation. Right. Because if you're getting a whole lot of misinformation, it's going to be detrimental, especially if you're a young, impressionable mind. Right. So that you don't want to listen to what mom say, what dad say, probably even your teachers. But if somebody tweeted or posted, you running with it as if it was law. So those things can be detrimental. Davey, let me get you in here, brother. So as far as parenting, if one father in the home, mother in the home, how do you feel they should be able to coexist as far as compromising, as not just putting the disciplinary role on the father to have him viewed as that stoic individual? How do you feel that it should be a healthy balance?
There should be a healthy balance. When you sit down with your child, they have an understanding. That's just respect across the board. You respect your mother, you respect your father, right? And a lot of times how it's set up, your mom really runs the house. And your dad would just come in when he needs to come in. Just like, and just in context, when you speak to that, we used to remember that big piece of chicken won't from nobody else but your dad. Because your daddy out here busting his butt and working hard. And that was explained by your mom to you. Yeah. And I remember my mom explaining that to me. And just for me, I can speak from my experience, there was a balance. Even though there was dysfunction there still was a balance. I respected my father. My father say something, he called my nickname Money. When he get loud like that, I know that means sit my butt down or tighten up. Yeah. And I'll be honest, my mom will punch in my mouth. You punch, can't do that now. Mom jab me real quick. And we all know this at this table. Like you said, there has to be a balance. But what I could appreciate, and God rest the soul of my parents, they would sit me down. Yeah. Which helped me how to communicate. Yeah. Correct. And showing even when they had dysfunction or something went on and said something was going on, they both would talk to me. Yeah. They took the time to talk to me. And a lot of times when you see that in households, you don't see that. Yeah. They'll get mad and they'll just throw them off.
Right. And I think that's the beneficial way to do it, so they can see the united front. It's limited on playing the parents against each other because it's a united front. Yeah. When it's that wait till your dad get home, or it's that individual parent talking and doing the discipline, it casts, it's skewed at that point. Because now, even if you are a great father, you did so many great things emotionally, protecting, providing, all that, but now you're still the only one who's disciplining me. Mm-hmm. It's going to be skewed all the time. But if it's a unity, a united front, I think it's even better. What you guys say, Sean?
I just hear the need for that balance, right? Mm-hmm. But in that balance, we have to be able to accept that the roles have changed. That's it, bro. Right? Like, I use myself as an example. Mm-hmm. I love to cook. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love to cook 100%. So me being in the kitchen was always my way. Now, I'm not changing all. I'm not changing brake pads and all that kind of stuff that used to be you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's not what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So I had to have that conversation with my sons to help them understand, your dad loves to cook. Now, both of them love to cook, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's a situation to whereas their mother came out of a situation, a family that balanced books, that dealt with checks and balances much better than mine. So we had to sit down and have that conversation early on. And then a lot of times we don't teach our children early how to respect their parents.
Mhm.
Like for instance, and it was funny, brothers would come by my house and you'd hear my sons call their mother mom or call me dad. And what's up with that, man? But that's how we train them, right? Because you don't want to be out in public and your child say, "Hey, Sean, let me get," because that's what they've heard everybody else say.
Yeah.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
So
That's right.
it comes back to, as we were saying from the very beginning, that communication totality, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many conversations that happened away from the children when we were the youngs, right? A child stay in his place. That ain't for you to talk about. That ain't for you to know. But now, unfortunately, it seems as though parents are bringing kids into those conversations.
Sure.
Some that they're not equipped for.
Absolutely.
So that balance has to come into a place to where that we understand our roles and can communicate why they differ from place to place.
And I think when that balance comes in with masculinity and femininity, it makes the masculinity stronger.
Right.
As Black men, we have to sometimes unlearn what we think respect is. The respect isn't I'm going to give you respect when I get it.
Right.
Right.
I'm going to give you respect
All the time.
That's from the beginning.
That's right.
I'm going to respect you regardless if you respect me. So I had to unlearn how I thought about respect. Like, you're going to give me respect, I'll give you respect, I'll show you respect, and expect respect in return.
Correct.
But now I understand I'm just going to respect you from start to finish,
Right.
regardless of whatever I receive from you. So when it's all said and done, I know I handled the situation appropriately. I don't think, I think the generational gap for our understanding of respect probably needs to be tightened up.
Yeah.
I think we need to have a conversation amongst ourselves what respect is too.
Mm-hmm.
So if I think you're getting disrespectful, let me show you another layer of respect
Right.
and de-escalate certain situations.
And I think it's all about modeling too,
Yes.
because the behavior that I'm displaying is oftentimes the mirror I'm showing up for you to reciprocate to me.
Right.
So if I'm not out of tone, I'm not calling you out your name, I'm not aggressive with you,
That's right.
meet me where I am. So
Right.
that way it's good. What about you, brother mine? How do you feel about that?
You know, also thinking about, we're talking about the respect. I think the consequences are a lot greater than they were before.
Mm.
So, I mean, me growing up, I couldn't tell you where to get a weapon or a gun. And so if I did feel disrespected at some time, the worst it's going to be is blows, maybe, right? Or maybe a bunch of posturing. But nowadays, with things availability, things of that nature, that easily a conversation, an argument, just yelling could drastically get out of hand in a heartbeat. And so that's something we have to look at. And that goes back to, like you said, the modeling. Look at what you're dealing with. If the father figure, the man figure, the masculine figure in your life is doing that, he's quick to go grab something or whatever. Hold up, I'll be right back. That's not going to solve anything. That's what we have to learn. Correct.
Yeah. Baby.
The crash out, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
Crash out is way different than it was in like 94. Just to use some reference. And I seen stuff that happened as a young man. I would see stuff go down and people have a disagreement. Before they would get a gun, we can talk about it or they're going to blows.
Right. Right.
And next thing you know, I see them guys later. Probably it is what it is, smoking a joint. I grew in the project. We was drinking a drink together.
Yeah.
Code 45.
Yeah, Code 45. There you go. That's
Yeah.
right. Or St. Ives.
Crooked eyes. Crooked eyes.
Or OE. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah.
But anyway, now it's like, if even with the I'll say the 25-year-olds, their patience is not there.
Mm-mm.
It's like we can have a disagreement, and next thing you know, this dude can shot me because he didn't think, he didn't want to talk about it. How me and you can have a disagreement. Hey, dog, we need to sit down. As the old saying is this: when we have a disagreement, let me holler at you.
Yeah.
We got to get back to that.
Yeah.
We ain't got that no more.
I think it's been displaced due to the phones.
Come on,
right.
Because now
Sure.
it's a miscommunication. You relayed a message, I
Right.
misinterpreted a
That's
message, so now I think
There
we're
you go.
beefing.
Yeah.
It ain't no call, it's
Yeah.
on site when I
Yeah.
see you,
Yeah.
opposed to, hey boss, what you meant by this?
Yeah.
Or did I misunderstand this? Or do I help me understand? That's
That's
one
right.
of my favorite phrases.
Yeah.
Help me understand. Because
Yeah.
you might articulate it in a way that I didn't catch, or
There you
vice
go.
versa. So let's
Yeah.
get some understanding,
Mhm.
let's talk about it and figure it out. But I think it's a lapse in that due to the absence of verbal communications, more so texting and tweeting and stuff, and it progresses from there. So,
And how it's framed in social media. So if you take two Black men that start arguing in social media, it's going to go viral,
100%.
right? It's going to go viral. So, Cam and Cam Newton and Gilly might go more viral than the president and Elon.
Right.
You know what I mean? Simply because it's going to get more airplay because we pay attention to it more.
Optics,
So
yeah.
we are showing our young black men that our black men, you know me, show rage sometimes, or we show, you know me, curt responses, or we get disrespectful. And they're not necessarily, to your point, modeling, looking at home, looking at the teachers,
Right.
the professors, the principals, such as yourself. They're going to look to social media. They're not looking at us. So we got to somehow make our voices louder to where they start also looking at, you know me, us. We're going to call ourselves regular dudes, you know me, as modeling.
Right.
Versus what they see on TV and
But
social media.
that's not as glorified, you know,
Well,
because when you de-escalate or you talk to somebody in that way, oh, you saw, you know,
Right.
you weak. That's not it. You know, I can talk to you just the way I'm
Yeah,
talking to you and rip your head off. I don't have to be aggressive and display that. What you about to say, brother?
No, but some of it though is, I think, say if you and I could be having an argument, it may get a little heated, but as other people come in,
Right.
and especially for those who are not used to the culture, that may expand it and blow things up as well. Some people don't realize we can get loud, but it doesn't mean we're going to get more aggressive later on.
Is it okay for me to hurt your feelings?
You can do it in a friendly way.
Okay.
Yeah. You can say something. I don't think not saying say something just to hurt my feelings,
Right.
but you may give me the truth. And I was like, man, I really didn't want to hear that,
Right.
or I didn't know that.
It's the intent.
like,
Like,
yeah,
if you hurt
Yes,
his
intent.
feelings based on malice, just
Right.
being
Yeah,
Right.
to be
a
mean.
butthole,
Yeah, right.
that's
Yeah.
you know that
Yeah.
ain't cool. But if it's, hey brother, you did this and I ain't like it, or hey, I got to call you out because you did X, Y, Z, I think that's cool. You're
Yeah.
supposed to be able to get corrected, you know, in a fashion to where it is accountability on that, you know, and you not get offended. Or if you do get offended, you have to understand too that perspective in which that brother is coming from.
Yeah.
Well, how
Or
do
that
you
person.
assess a person's sensitivity? Because I could be talking to you out of a certain level of truth, and you could be getting just sensitive because I'm giving you truth, and you're taking it the wrong way, and then it escalates, and then
Sure.
I just shut down and said, well, you know what, you probably don't want to hear what I have to say, and then it's a missed opportunity.
I think that goes into our definition of friendship.
Yeah.
It goes into our definition of friendship, right? It's certain individuals, and maybe we give that away too fast. Maybe we
For
give
friendship?
it away too fast.
Say
right?
it too soon. Yeah.
It's like you go from I just met you on Tuesday, now you my boy, right? And sometimes we doing that to mask and cover, right? Because some of us can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
We just can't. We need it.
Right.
We can't. For us that deliver it, right? It's all about the manner in which you put it on display, right? If you really know, if you watch me and Mike interact, you're going to know within minutes we friends, right? Because first of all, it's not going to happen just every so often. It's a continuous.
Yeah.
It's a continuous thing. When we talk about from this standpoint, brother, you're on my mind. That's not just a one-time thing.
That's right.
Right.
This is a continual thing, right? Around here in the 3rd District, we have this thing we call a Bro Wednesday. That doesn't mean it just has to happen on Wednesdays, but on that particular day, we get to it. And we try and end each one of them conversations with one phrase. You will never know the power of a phone call until you make one. You can sit back and speculate all day.
Yes, sir.
But I would prefer for me to hurt Mike's feeling by telling him the truth than me lying to him and he goes out and society hits him with truth.
Come on.
And
Because
that's-
then he can't.
And you knew about it.
And I knew about it.
Yeah.
And and sometimes we can view that as what's happening in the home, you
Correct.
know, because
Correct.
young parents often want to be that friend, that
That's right.
go-to,
That's
and
right.
then they are being corrected by somebody in society, and they don't know how to receive that correction or
Correct.
that authority figure, whether it's a teacher, administrative, or
Right.
officer. You know, that interaction is lost because I ain't nobody talk to me like that.
Correct.
So, do I respond back this way, or do I just take what they're telling me?
Right.
And as far as that, do you see that with all types of parents that they want to be friends all of a sudden? 'Cause,
Unfortunately, that's a growing trend.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it's a growing trend to where it's that parents are struggling to be parents. Bottom line, as an elementary administrator, I can't tell you how many conversations I have a week, a month with parents. I don't understand why he or she acts this way. I don't understand this. And here's where the societal functions comes in, right? When you have those parents that really are truly reaching out, the first thing you would do is tell them to go to the doctor. What the doctor will do? Charge them for something. So now it becomes a cycle,
Yeah.
right? It becomes a cycle to where that we never get to the bottom of it.
That's right.
I just found out the other day, I'm an OG. I didn't know I was an OG. I'm 53, soon to be 54. I'm an OG.
Yeah.
Okay.
As an OG, I have to think back to what that means from a community standpoint. See, them OGs, they were the boys that really and truly fixed things.
That's right.
Like if they saw two young cats going at it, hey,
That's right. There you go.
let me step in and
That's
do
right.
it. That's a role now that we have to better understand. You know, so it's just those things. But conversations like this helps it. You know, we talk about iron sharpening iron, right? But in order for that to happen, you have to be vulnerable to what your shortcomings are, to be able to talk about it, to be able to grow from. Hey, look, we talked about the dinner table.
That's right.
And look like we got some dinner coming in front of us.
Hey, so if you're just joining us, we are at Traditions, which is
Thank you.
3335 South Credit Road in Petersburg, Virginia. Traditions is a soul food restaurant owned by Sam Campbell and Denise Campbell. So if you're ever in the Petersburg area, feel free to check them out, please. So if you're just joining us again, we just finished talking about fatherhood. We're about to roll into mentorship and the importance of that. So please stick around.
Listen, if we could do anything, to those that have joined us, we want to thank you for this. But we hopefully get you to a point to encourage you to build this in your particular environment. I had a good friend of mine tell me the best way to truly have impact is for you to own your zip code. Find those things in your zip code that makes those things tick. Our challenge to you, not to just enjoy this good soul food that we're going to have, but to take the conversation a little bit deeper. If you haven't around your family table sat and had those conversations, maybe this can encourage you to do so. You don't have to have as many topics that we talking about. You don't even have to have the depth. You can sit before your child, you can sit before your loved ones and say, I really don't know, but let's see how we can figure this out together. And then we can truly enjoy the fruits of it. We are fortunate, brothers. We have healthy we came from different environments, came from different backgrounds, different states, different cities, different cultures. Everything means something different. The hood means something different to each one of us. But now look at us coming together as one unit, doing one thing. Looking to set models and be an example for our families and our people. And when I say our people, it's the youth. We have to be able to build. As I tell students every day, you don't know which fifth grader is going to be that lawyer to represent you in court.
Yeah.
You don't know which fifth grader is going to be that doctor that's going to save your life or a family member's life. So the best way for you to do, approach everybody with the same level of love, compassion, and make those things go. Let's continue to operate that way.
Awesome. That's awesome. So if you are a parent out there, take some time to enjoy a meal with your children. I know oftentimes we want to grab that plate, run up to the room or go in the living room, sit in front of the TV. But find time this week in order to just sit and fellowship. You know, you don't have to talk about much. You can talk about school. You can talk about social media. You can talk about healthy relationships. Whatever you led to talk about, just make sure that you start to incorporate those things.